John, you're doing a lot of great events. Also, I would say if you haven't seen it yet, you need to watch this. Missing 411, the UFO connection. John, you're a part of this. And I interviewed David a few years ago. Interesting interview. And I remember he brought up something. One thing that I found very interesting, I want to get your take on this, is they still don't know why certain people go missing. And, you know, there's the Bigfoot theory, the UFO theory, definitely theories. But one thing he said that I'm still thinking about is the majority of these people that have disappeared in very mysterious circumstances are from German descent.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like old Nazi tech and stuff like that, Project Paperclip kind of stuff. But that's just what came to my mind. I want to get your take on this. How was that, man? I mean, it sounds like. Here's some interesting statistics for you. I read a report at longtermtrends.net that gold was the #1 performing asset of 2022. Not surprising for me, probably not for you as well if you've been watching Leak Project. But listen to this. If you had invested in the S&P 500 a year ago, you'd be down over 20%. If you invested in Bitcoin a year ago, you'd be down more than 65%. If you invested in the Dow a year ago, you'd be down almost 10%. Yes, gold has outperformed them all in 2022, and silver is not far behind. Convert your 401 or IRA today through Noble Gold Investments and be gifted this beautiful American Eagle gold coin. This is a 1/4 ounce gold coin at no additional cost. And they even have great pricing and customer service on other precious metals. Click the link specific, leakprojectgold.com, and get your 1/4 ounce American Eagle gold coin now. Pretty intense project, right?
Well, the reason people have to see this movie is because, you know, David Paulides has been around a long time. He's been doing these movies for a long time. But this is the first time, because David Paulides is a supreme investigator, okay? He has credibility that is just through the roof. And so for that reason, until now, he has refrained from openly ascribing a paranormal cause, possible cause, to these disappearances, okay? Because he was very concerned about his credibility, so he never openly has said until now. Now, he finally took one of his movies and he actually named it, you know, Missing 411, The UFO Connection, all right? And this is something that I actually got involved in this after an FBI agent was involved in one of his investigations, and suddenly the guy just supposedly he showed up at one of these missing persons investigations, and this FBI agent went there. He started measuring spaces between trees. He started putting down markers. He started checking around, and he said that there was something unbelievable involved in this disappearance. That's what the FBI agent said. And then a couple of days later, the FBI agent supposedly killed himself in his hotel room. It was just nonsense. It's just nonsense. But anyway, so I came in there and I told David Paulides that this guy did not kill himself. First of all, FBI agents tend to not do things like that. But they, especially when they're working on a case that they're obsessed with, and he clearly was, and it just didn't make any sense. So that just made us more curious about what levels of stuff could be involved in these disappearances that possibly the cabal wants to wipe people out of these investigations. It just didn't make any sense. But that's how I originally started talking to David Paulides about these investigations. And these investigations just don't make any sense, because it really gives you the sense that there has been an agreement. In big letters, I would put agreement made between those who disappear these people and the local governments that are supposed to investigate these disappearances. But guess what? They never do. They never really do anything more than what's called a cursory investigation. And then they pull up stakes and they go home and say, oh, no way to solve this one, sorry. And they do that hundreds and hundreds and thousands of times. I mean, it just, for an investigator walking up on this, you just get the sense that there's been some kind of agreement to have a certain number of people disappear every year. And let me tell you, from FBI statistics, there is an average in the United States of about 33,000 people that disappear from the United States every year. Every year. That is an average number, 33,000. And I'm not talking
how many did they find out of those 33,000? And what a weird number, 33.
None. That's why they're called disappearances, because we're not talking murders, kidnappings, or anything like that. We're talking about disappeared. No clues, no signs of a struggle to investigate. Really nothing to investigate, because there's nothing left behind. It's just a genuine disappearance. 33,000 of those. Now, I do have to tell you, the majority of that 33,000 tend to happen in Alaska for some reason. That's just the reality of it. The majority happen in Alaska.
Alaska's a brutal state, though, man. And a lot of people go out there that want to get away from the world. So the natural elements could explain some of that.
Exactly. And that's why these people who made the agreement picked Alaska as being the majority of these disappearances, because it's terrific. You've got so many excuses. I've seen actual law enforcement officers walk up on scenes in Alaska and say the most brutally idiotic things like, oh, probably a bear got him or some wolves got him or something. But there's no blood splatter. There's no blood. There's no blood traces anywhere. How are you going to say something so brutally stupid as, oh, bears got him or the wolves got him, if there's no blood splatter? It just doesn't make sense. A lot of these people, they take their boots off and they take their socks off and they neatly put them in a pile on the side along with some of their clothing, and then they leave and their footprints disappear. It's great. That's not a bear. That's not an eagle didn't carry them off.
Okay, so I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a minute. I remember one time I'm doing a live stream. I'm in Durango. I'm sitting on a big granite rock, and I'm on the river, and I fell. And I had my shoes placed with my socks all nice and neat, right? And I fell in the river. And
that was you.
I'm just thinking. I'm thinking to myself, how many people have disappeared like this, and then we're calling them 411 cases? You know what I mean? I don't know.
You could have been carried away from the river, and then you would have been in our movie, right?
But yeah, I'm so glad I'm not in your movie, and I do not want to be in that movie, John. So no, thank you. I want to talk about the movie, not be in it. Yes.
So this is my final investigative conclusion to help people from disappearing from this movie, from having done this movie. And apparently there is some kind of intelligence behind all these disappearances. Now, we don't know if the intelligence is a group of serial killers, a group of alien visitors, a group of Bigfoots that are involved with this. We don't know which. But what we do know is that the intelligence seems to have certain rules to their behavior. David Paulides calls it profile points. Okay? So the biggest profile point I see in all of these disappearances that we are considering in this movie is that the person that disappears, and I'm telling you this for the next time you go to a national park anywhere in the United States, or anyone that's listening, the major profile point appears to be that according to the rules of those who disappear people, it looks like the person must, in the moment that they disappear, They must be alone with no direct observation from a second individual at all. They have to be alone. No observance, not in the eyesight of anybody else. And it's the only way they will be disappeared. So it looks like, and I'm talking not even to walk around the tree and urinate. You know, I'm talking you cannot go out of the sight of your partner at all, not even for a few seconds, because we do have some cases in there of people that just went to take a leak behind the tree and gone, just gone. Just for a few seconds. I don't know how long, I mean, it depends on how much you got, but they just disappeared. And so it looks like if you just never, ever be alone during the time that you're in this national park or whatever it is, you won't disappear. You just won't. And I would and I would challenge anybody to challenge that thesis. And because that's really what I have as my final investigative conclusion out of this the whole missing 411 phenomena that is been going on, and it's going to continue for quite a while.
Now, clearly we can't confirm this, but let's speculate for a minute. These locations where these national parks are, is there a specific reason that they pick those areas besides the fact that obviously they're gorgeous and everybody wants to go there and take pictures and say, hey, I went to Yellowstone?
Oh, why? Who picked it?
I don't know. The powers that be, whoever decided to say, well, we don't work. I mean, well, that's another thing. That's a great question. That's a pretty vague question. Are there, because you're talking about people disappearing in national parks. Why are they disappearing in national parks? Is it because there's all the people that are there are basically accounted for? So they know all the people that go through the gates, and they know where the rangers are. So it's a great way to control a certain area.
Well, I believe the reason is because of my investigative conclusion. I believe it's because in the cities or communities, there's just too many people around. They're around all the time. There's always somebody in direct observance of somebody else. It's just not practical to make people surreptitiously disappear from the cities or from the towns or what have you. They need a sparsely populated area, a place where there is a very good chance that these people will be alone at some point with no direct observance whatsoever. Now, no security cameras, no surveillance cameras like the cities have, every freaking traffic light that you see. None of that is present. And that's why I believe they picked the national parks of the United States to do all of these disappearances. That's the reason why.
Can we get a list, or can you, or can David, does he have a list of all the people that have been abducted in these weird circumstances? Is there a way to look at the family ties and possibly the blood types of these people?
Oh, that's a good question. We never really go into blood types very much, but I would like to tell you a quick story of how this movie, I believe, the previous 411 missing movies actually saved a person's life. And I'll tell you this way. There was a young man, and this occurred in the city. That's pretty crazy. And we've had several stories like this that are very similar to this story. But I recently received it. David Paulides also received this story. And it goes like this. There was a young man named Mike who was in the city. His car was in the shop. He had to get to work. His car was in the shop. He was in the city. It was nighttime. He was working the night shift at his job, whatever that job happened to be. So he went to the bus stop in his local area. And like I said, it was in the city. And he sat at the bus stop And then he usually he had a lot of people there at that bus stop with him, but for some reason there was nobody there this time. And it was nighttime. He was waiting for the bus. Then suddenly there's something we call in the paranormal the changing of the air, the changing of the vibration. He suddenly felt a changing in the air quality. He felt a chill. He felt a gloom, like some kind of artificial darkness came over everything. And he just stared up and he realized it didn't look like this bus was coming, and the streets were completely desolate. He couldn't see another human being anywhere. And then he heard some scraping from a nearby area. He jumped out of the bus stop area. He jumped out and he started looking around where the sounds were coming from. And there were like these scuttling kind of sounds. And he just looked back. He was trying to get a fix on something. Nothing. And then he tried looking around other areas. And then out of his peripheral, he was able to see a shimmering kind of body of some kind. And he said he started seeing these two of these creatures that appeared like chimpanzees. They appeared simian in nature, like they were apes of some kind, but they were all covered with this, like it was very sort of rainbow shimmery type material. They were invisible. But when they came directly beneath the street lamp, the direct rays of the street lamp kind of lit them up, kind of rainbowish somehow. One of them climbed over like an ape to the top of this covered bus stop area, on top of it. And the other one was climbing the lamppost to get a good look at him. And he basically was shocked. He ran out into the street. He didn't know what was going on, but he saw these things and he said they were coming towards him. And then he remembered 411 missing, the whole thing. And he said, oh my God, I've got to do something here, or these things are going to take me, whatever they are. And he was close, kind of out in the street. Then he saw one car coming. And it was coming fast. He basically jumped in front of the car. The car hit its brakes, and it barely missed smashing him in the head from where he was. And he almost fell over, but he immediately backed up, and the driver lowered his window to scream at him. He's like, what the hell is going on? What is wrong with you? What, are you drunk or something? And he started talking to the driver very apologetically to keep him talking. And he said, dude, I'm so sorry. I didn't understand. I was just trying to cross the street. I'm real sorry. But this is really, it's really good. Maybe you can give me a ride because I'm, my car just broke down. He was just trying to keep the guy talking. And then he says, he just, out of the corner of his eye again, he saw these shimmering kind of figures, these ape-like figures, retreating from where he was. And he saw them going away. And he said, it's working. Just having another human being just cuts the operation completely. And he saw them going further and further back. He tried to keep the driver talking more and more. And he just got and the driver wouldn't give him a ride, but he did curse him out a lot more. And he said that was good, because then he saw the two figures kind of blot out, like disappear. They were gone. And then he just told the driver, okay, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. I'm good. I'm going to walk down to the next bus stop and get out of here. And he said, he let the guy go. And he said that night, he saved his life by jumping in front of that car and nearly being killed by it. And he said that was the only thing, because he said those things were going to take him. And he had no doubt of that in his mind whatsoever.
Space gorillas with rainbow suits and interdimensional technologies. Now we're talking, man. That's wild. Now, yeah. I would be worried that something like that would happen. I mean, if they tried to do it once, I mean, clearly there was a reason they were trying to get him specific. Has anyone talked to him since?
No, and he's keeping himself anonymous because he said this is just too crazy. He cannot stand out in front of this story because he said it's just too crazy, and he has a responsible job.
Yeah. Well, it's like Planet of the Apes, but even more intense. That was a great movie, by the way. The first one at the very end, that made the whole movie when Mark Wahlberg comes back, and instead of it being Abe Lincoln, it's a ape Lincoln. That was freaking wild. Wow.
Yeah. I'd rather have Abe Lincoln in charge right now instead of
you, man. He loves you so much. John, this has been okay. So we've done some great interviews in the past. I think this was the best one, man. This was awesome. Thank you.
Rex.
I had a really great talk with you.
No, thank you, Rex. It's always so good to be with you because I know your audience is so plugged in and connected to these topics. And I wish I could have been in the chat when it was running through because I would have liked to talk to them as well directly. But I will tell them, just remember to check out my website, johntamabooks.com. My books and Holotech products are on sale. This is from my manager. And for books, use code FBI30 for 30% discount. And also for Holotech products are products and devices that function on Tesla technology, Tesla vibrations. These things, for instance, keep you protected spiritually. And I have devices for this period of time when we're suffering, when we're being attacked in the economy people. I have devices that will help you to get better gas mileage for your car, that will cut your electric bill, that will do all kinds of these amazing things for you. So that is for Holotech products on my website. Use code FBI50, for 50% discount. Okay. All right.
Let me show your website off real quick. Your website again is?
It's John Tama Books, johntamabooks.com. And then there's Holotech products under that. And that's where all of our devices, which, like I said, they function based on Tesla technology. Tesla technology. There he is holding the power plant that he created that probably would work today if we would recreate them.
And you can actually, is it better to get the books through you? Because you could probably sign them, huh?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
I'll sign them, and I usually write a little note to the person. I can include a copy of their FBI file with the book so they see what the government thinks about them.
Oh, I definitely got to get a book, man. I want to get my file.
Just kidding. I can't do that. Just kidding. I can't do that.
Dang it. I got so stoked. Conspiracy theorist in the van down by the river. Visions of grandeur. Oh, man. That would be so cool. Right on, man. John, can we do this again sooner than later?
Yes, please. That would be great. Because I didn't even get to tell your viewers about how to find the report that Adolf Hitler was actually did escape from when the Soviets pretended that they had him, and him and Eva Braun did escape. They got out. They went to Argentina, to a small town in Argentina. I don't remember the name, and he actually died there in his 80s. In his 80s later on, and he established like a little German town in Argentina where, I mean, to this day, if you go there to this town, everybody there, they're all descendants of the Nazis that got out and that came here. Oh, so you can find that report at vault.fbi.gov, vault.fbi.gov, and you just need to go in there, put into the search perimeter, just put in Hitler information or Adolf Hitler, and you'll find this report from an FBI informant that says all about how they found out that Hitler actually escaped with Eva Braun, and they burned two other bodies, whoever they were. They're probably doubles. They probably used doubles back then too. And they just, and they ended up in Argentina in this one town. And it was crazy that the FBI had this information and then never did anything about it until after Hitler died. It was crazy. But that's par for the course.
That's quite telling. And, you know, the first thing I thought of, even when I was a kid and my mom told me how Hitler died, the first thing that came to my mind was BS. And I was like 8 when she told me that. So exactly.
Hey. Children have that innate investigative sense when they know when something is BS. And it's amazing. If we would just keep that, if we would keep that sense, we'd be so much better off than what we are, for sure. Absolutely. And speaking of your paper that you wrote that predicted these things, I also need for people to just read my book, The Clear Hearers. Read The Clear Hearers, please, because these things are coming true. Right now, they're coming true. The predictions that I made in Clear Hearers. And it's going to continue to come true because the cabal and the nations have this voice-to-skull technology that allows them to put out these messages to people, these short, clear messages to people, and transmit these messages so that they receive these things and they receive the 7 words. That's why, and this was covered by 2 men that I follow. They're basically the only 2 men that I follow in this entire area, and that's David Icke and Cliff High as well. And both of them said people are being sent these messages. And one of the things that was noted, I think it was noted by Cliff High, is that when people receive these messages, like it says in my book, The Clear Hearers, they also receive a feeling of comfort, a psychological feeling of comfort and well-being. Like, this message is true and good, and it's going to help you. And there's an emotional aspect to it. It's crazy, but it's crazy. But a lot of people, they receive these messages and they act on it without even really knowing what's making them act on it. So that's why Clear Hearers is important for us to learn what is a real clear hearing incident where your higher self is communicating to your lower self, which is you, and trying to help you and tell you what's going on. And but these governments unfortunately are imitating the clear hearing experience, and that's the counterfeit clear hearing experience, and that's what's happening, and that's going to continue to happen and grow even greater in the future.
Well, geez, Faraday cage 24/7, folks. We're going to have full body Faraday cages that you can still be active, move around here. I've actually got a 5G blocking liner right here. This thing right here blocks. It was so funny when we made these tinfoil hats a few years ago. We're like, well, should we make them? Because we wanted to make tinfoil hats. And I'm like, yeah, everybody's got to have a tinfoil hat. But
I've got that hat. You gave me one of those.
Do you know how much these things are worth now, man?
I should have pulled it out. This is worth like $10,000 each, aren't they?
Well, I don't know about that.
That's what I got on eBay for one the other day.
Right on. Oh man, checks in the mail. This right here is so it's got a liner that's going to block the higher frequencies and the lower frequencies. But I think there's a lot of disinformation out there about EMFs too. So you really got to study that kind of stuff, which I've been studying in depth. And folks, just like, be a researcher, and buy Clear Hearers. Nothing but respect, John. You are awesome, my friend. And thank you for all that you do, and keep being the change you want to see.
Thanks, Max. Thanks so much, man. Good stuff.
You want to go to the website leakproject.com because you could listen to this interview in full. It's about 2.5 hours, and there's a lot of stuff we talk about that's only available on the website. And if you can't afford a free membership, I'll take care of you. To send me an email, leakproject@gmail.com. But we could really use your support, folks, because I've put tens of thousands of dollars into this website. Freedom of speech is quite expensive these days, and it's worth it. So your support greatly helps Leak Project. We do spend lots of money to keep it updated also. And the live shows are always free and uncensored, and you can ask the guest and myself questions. So that's why you want to go to the website every single day and check out the calendar. And also, we do shows that aren't on the calendar. So just be spontaneous with us. Make it a part of your daily routine. Go to leakproject.com. Click on the live section, and we've got a bunch of great people in the live feeds, you know, talking to the guests, having fun in the chat. And I think you'll really appreciate the website. So thank you for being here with us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/clandestine Time Lord. Hit the bell, be well, and be the change you want to see, everybody.